On today's show, we get an update from Habitat for Humanity of Greater Plymouth on Community Conversations, take a look back at a veterans visit with 6th graders at Pilgrim Memorial Hall, hear original poetry, and shine a light on local with community show Sensitive Warrior.
And if you're looking to learn or just have some fun, we'll also be talking about classes, programs, and upcoming things to do in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, and Duxbury.
We are glad you're here. Let's get started. Habitat for Humanity Executive Director Amy Belmore sits down with Bryan Wille, U.S. Navy retired and site manager for Plymouth Area Veteran Center next on Community Conversations.
Hi, I'm Amy Belmore. I'm the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Plymouth, and I'm joined today by Bryan Wille, the site manager for the Plymouth Veteran Center and retired U.S. Navy. We're here today to talk a little bit about the housing crisis that we're facing here across the Commonwealth and certainly here in our region, and to explain a little bit about Habitat's program as well as what the Plymouth Veteran Center is doing to assist our veteran population. So, Habitat for Humanity works every single day to build and repair affordable housing for families in need in our region. We're very proud of that work, and we are on an ongoing basis working with volunteers to build affordable homes for families who are facing housing insecurity. Now, we know that the real estate market is sky high here in southeastern Massachusetts, and we also know that affordable housing makes such significant difference for families, whether they're in the workforce, growing families, young families, fixed income seniors. So many segments of our population are, of course, struggling with today's real estate market. That's where Habitat for Humanity comes in, along with many other agencies and partners across the state. But what we do here in the greater Plymouth area, which includes 6 towns, actually, Plymouth, Kingston, Carver, Lakeville, Middleborough, and Plimpton is where we work. We build single-family homes to provide that sort of transformational change that will really last for generations. We know that when a family has housing security and they're able to afford their rent or their mortgage, we know that education improves, child development improves, economic mobility improves, employment productivity, you name it, life gets better. And so what we wanted to do today in particular was to talk about an opportunity that we have coming up for a family in the area to apply for our next Habitat home. And this one in particular has a veteran preference for the lottery selection process. It's a 3-bedroom home in Carver. It's not yet under construction. It's an existing home that was once abandoned, and we will be rehabbing it in full. And we aim to start working on this early in 2026. The application window is open right now. It can be downloaded from our website. And we really encourage families, specifically veteran families, to apply. It's life-changing. And this is why I wanted to have Bryan join me on set today to talk about the challenges that veterans face, as well as the wonderful work that is being done at the Veteran Center. Still relatively new, just past your 1-year anniversary, right, in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
facility. And so, Bryan, in your work with the veterans and the center that you're doing, how do you find that's working through their housing challenges? What are the programs that you offer when it comes to housing?
So at Volunteers of America, Massachusetts, and the Plymouth Area Veteran Center, we offer an array of programs to help the homeless veteran population. We have a couple of federal grants through the VA, our supportive services for veterans and families. They can help with arrears, they can help with move-in costs to help veterans get into housing. If a veteran gets a 30-day notice, they can come to our SSVF program. And as long as they qualify under the veteran definition, they can enter that program, and they have multiple things that they can help them out with, getting into a new place or helping them stay where they're at. We also have a few employment programs to help with the employment through the Department of Labor. We also have the Housing Outreach Placement Effort. That is a state grant through the Executive Office of Veteran Services. They have been absolutely wonderful to us. That is who our grant funding for the center is through as well. And we also have a flex funding. With the HOPE grant, they are similar to the SSVF grant. One upside to it is that they can help Reserve and National Guard as well. I know that's a community that is much forgotten in the veteran community because they don't always hold that veteran status if they didn't have that active duty time.
Right.
So we do have a lot of programs to help out with the housing crisis that we are facing today.
Yeah, and it's so interesting you mentioned, meeting the definition of veteran status, and that is, something that we're looking at within this application opportunity too. And also important for me to note with this home ownership opportunity that I'm mentioning, it is for those folks who are income qualified. So there are thresholds in terms of maximum household income limits that apply for this opportunity, as well as minimums. It is an affordable mortgage over a typical 30-year term, and so the houses that Habitat builds are not gifts, as some other nonprofits do gift their homes. That's not the nature of our program. Do you find that, obviously we have veterans who are finding their housing and rental situations, do you find that there are many that are really looking to own a home as well and struggle with that market?
Most of our clients would, in the long run, like to own their own home.
Sure.
Like I said, the way today's economy is, especially in southern Massachusetts or in the Massachusetts area, it's just so expensive. It's so hard for them to actually own a house. I mean, we're seeing families that are struggling with their rent. So to come up with funding to actually own a house and then be able to maintain in this environment is very, very tough for them.
100%. I mean, when you look at a median market price of $650,000 for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom here in the greater Plymouth area, it's just off the charts, and I know that a lot of rentals are out there for, again, $2,500, $3,000 a month, to just rent an apartment for a family. And so when we talk about life changing for us in terms of Habitat, this particular home, we can already project what the mortgage will be and what the monthly costs will be, including property tax and homeowners insurance. And we're looking at about $1,500 a month to own a 3-bedroom.
And see, that's unheard of,
unheard of.
Especially in this area. Very,
is.
very unheard of.
Yeah.
I know I just traveled out to Minnesota to see my family, and the cost of living is so much different out there, where you could buy a pretty nice house in the small town that I came from for $180,000, and that would be about what the mortgage would be for something like that out there. So to be able to have a mortgage affordable for veterans and their families out here is absolutely amazing. So I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
what you
we're
guys
hoping
do.
to get those applicants coming in, and the deadline is December 4th, so we're really aiming for that and trying to get the word out. Thank you to the local scene for helping us do this.
Yes.
And, another, obviously, veterans, just by nature of their background, they're hands-on people, and we bring to our model the idea that our homeowners, Habitat homeowners, also put in sweat equity hours.
Yes.
So what makes the foundation of Habitat's model work is that we're having volunteers provide almost all of the labor on these built sites. And homeowners get involved with that process, working right alongside. And does that strike you as something that, many veterans would probably enjoy doing? I know
absolutely.
People of all backgrounds enjoy
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Even our organization, we've been discussing since we had word from you that they were putting a house in Carver, and you guys came into our coffee social and gave a presentation on that. We've definitely been discussing getting a group together to help assist with this when it happens.
Nice.
It really shows a lot of camaraderie in the veteran community when we can all get together and help a veteran out to get in a better spot in life.
There's so much camaraderie on these work sites. I'm telling you, people of all backgrounds, ages, skill sets, some that know exactly what they're doing with power tools, others who don't have a clue, but everybody learns what they need to know for the day. And
Hey,
it's
some people
wonderful.
enjoy a broom. You know?
Some people enjoy it. That's true. A clean like work site is
Exactly.
highly valued. So now tell me, are there any other key programs that you're standing up or launching soon or expanding that you want to talk about?
So we do have some things that are in the works. We work with the Plymouth Sheriff's Department quite a bit with the incarcerated veterans community. We're starting to assist them in some other areas that we believe that we can really assist the youth in. We have a couple of recovery events that we have going on. A couple of organizations that we're working in to help with recovery, whether it's drugs or alcohol or PTSD or whatever they may be recovering from. It's not your normal recovery meetings. We just kind of hang out and discuss what has been going on the last month and see where maybe we can help in the recovery. That's open to first responders and nurses and medics as well.
Oh, great.
So those are a couple of the programs we'll be running through the winter, and we have a fireside chat with that one where we go to the VFW here in Plymouth. We start a fire, we roast some marshmallows, make some s'mores, I grill some burgers and dogs, and that's a little more family oriented. We like them to bring the wives or their significant others and their children out for that one so they can just kind of have a good time and relax and realize that recovery is a good thing.
Absolutely. Hugely important work, and just that idea of fellowship. You know, you are part of a supportive community. You support one another, you know, during time in service, and
Yes.
now, you know, to follow that along in recovery. That's awesome. That's amazing
And
work.
one other one that we have going on too, which is going to be pretty big this winter, is we're working with the Medic Now Foundation and Salt of the Earth Catering to provide 500 meals for veterans in the area December 23rd. So we're working on getting all that together and hopefully we can get that done. We did 225 last year, so we're super excited about that.
More than doubling. That's
Yes,
ambitious.
yes.
So
We actually doubled it last year. We started out, we were going to do 100, and with Salt of the Earth's help, we ended up doing 225. So
Wow.
we figured we could definitely double that this year and make it happen.
Well, certainly there will be a need. 100%
yes.
this year is more than ever, probably. And how would someone sign up for that? Is it something that someone signs up for?
So as soon as we get everything situated, there'll be sign-ups through the Plymouth Area Veteran Center.
Okay.
There'll be sign-ups through the VFW, through the Medic Now Foundation, and we'll get the word out that there'll be sign-ups for that. We'll have a deadline so that Salt of the Earth knows how many they're actually going to be making and things like that. But like I said, we're shooting for 500. So
That's amazing. Well, I know certainly from where we sit, we rely heavily on donations from the community to support the work of Habitat, and certainly donations can always be made by way of our website. But do you also take donations at
yes,
the Veteran
ma'am.
Center?
If you go on our website, voamass.org,
Okay.
and you'll see a donation spot on there. And within the donations, if you want it to go to VOA Mass, that's fine. There's no problems with that. If you want it to go to the Plymouth Area Veteran Center itself, you can just put in the memo block PAVC, and that'll go into a separate fund that we have started for the center. That we take funds out of that to offer things around the area like shows and things like that to veterans. We'll pay for their tickets or maybe a night out on the town or something like that. We'll get some gift certificates to local restaurants and stuff like that. So
Nice.
we definitely love the donations.
Yes,
It helps
we
out
do,
a lot.
right? And certainly in the nonprofit world, it's really important.
Yes.
So in terms of applications for anybody listening out there that's interested in this home ownership opportunity, that is available on our website, which is HfHPlymouth.org, along with that little donate button too. But most importantly, we also are happy to take questions via phone. Our phone number is 508-866-4188. And hard copies of the application can actually be picked up at any of the libraries in our service area, as well as all of the veteran service officers have them at their offices, typically in their town hall. So again, those towns are Lakeville, Carver, Kingston, Middleborough, Plimpton, and Plymouth.
And we also do have hard copies at the Plymouth Area Veteran Center as well,
Yes.
which is 20 North Park Avenue, right in the Citizens Bank building. If you find the chimpanzee to the left, walk through the doors to the end of the hallway where the last office on the left. Please come and see us. It's a beautiful facility. The state did really good of helping us get that all put together for veterans. And it's not just veterans in need either. It's any veteran in the community that wants to come in. We have an array of things to do in there. So, and I always have coffee on.
Yeah, you always have coffee on. Well, that's a great way. It's a beautiful facility. I've had a chance to go there a couple of times. That chimp right there in the parking lot is a great landmark. Look
Yes.
for that. That's also a beautiful piece of artwork. So congratulations on just getting
Yes.
past your 1-year anniversary at
Thank
the
you so
site. I
much.
think that's probably a good way for us to wrap up. But thank you again, and thank you to the local scene for
Yes.
having us here today.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And now, let's turn a light on local. Part of our mission as a media center is to welcome members of the community into our studios to record their own show or podcast about subjects that matter to them. The resulting content reflects the diversity of thought and opinion in our neighbors and neighborhoods, but not necessarily the views of the local scene staff, board, or director. We are a platform for free speech. Sensitive Warrior is a show recorded right here in Studio B and hosted by community producer Doreen Lang. Here's a clip.
You must bring, if you love it like this, you must just bring such a glow to that building.
I like to think that I do. I think that, again, I work with like-minded people too, and that's the key for me. It's knowing that the people that I work with, I can totally count on. If I'm not there for a day, I know I don't have to worry. And same with those people. And one of the things the residents and their families will tell you is that we all do everything. You would never hear anybody in this building say, that's not my job.
I know, it's not aggravating
It
to hear
is,
that.
and it's like, you know.
That went away years ago,
It
didn't it?
did, thankfully. And I think that, you know, because at the end of the day, we're people taking care of people. And exactly like you said, how do you want to be treated when you get older? And again, I'm already starting to feel the aches and pains of aging.
I want to be treated well now. Never mind when I get older.
Exactly. And so, you know, these people are people who have done amazing things in their lives, even if it was raise children or
I know,
being a
the
homemaker
stories
or
behind these people.
You know, but some of them are, you know, maybe a housekeeper, but they're also CEOs of banks and military people, and they really, honestly, it's not hard to do. Just like you had mentioned, they really just want, you know, to tell their stories or speak to somebody about something and just
Be
giving them a
heard.
few minutes of attention and listening.
It's
And
everything.
you know what? It's everything. And when you build those relationships with people, truly build them, you've won them over.
You have a friend for life,
You
really.
do. And
Yeah.
even if you, as a community, if we make a mistake on something, they don't care because they're happy there, because they're loved and cared for, truly.
If you like what you saw, find more of Sensitive Warrior on Xfinity Channel 6 or Verizon 43, or visit our community producers YouTube channel at Community on the Local Scene.
2 years ago, we took you to Pilgrim Memorial Hall, where veterans from VFW Post 1822 sat down with 6th graders from Plymouth South Middle School. Let's take a look back.
We're here today to have a school group from the town of Plymouth come visit Memorial Hall. They're grade 6, and they have been learning about veterans, and in getting ready for Memorial Day, they're going to come down and learn about Memorial Hall and what our town's kind of all about.
Plymouth South Middle School teaches a literacy unit on social issues, and my colleagues and I had the idea of how wonderful it would be if the students learned that they are members of a larger community outside of themselves. So we decided we should each pick a place that was a little bit near and dear to our hearts and have the students go out into the community and learn not only about the organization, but how they could help. The students are captivated by things that happen around them, that there's a little meaning put behind. So I decided I had a good group for it this year, and I contacted Dennis Russell, the head of the VFW in Plymouth. He was so honored, which just filled me up, that he was so happy that someone was paying attention to veterans in our town. Very eager to talk about his service, very eager to talk with me. So we launched this whole idea together.
So we've got a nice mix of veterans who are happy to sit down and speak to these students. They have got some prepared questions. I'm sure they have some other questions, but we're happy to have this opportunity. And I think it's very important that they actually have a chance to speak to a veteran and find out, you know, what did they experience, and, you know, what's it like?
I believe part of a social studies teacher's job is to educate students on just history in general and the world they live in. So we live in the United States of America. We live in Plymouth, which has so much rich history. I teach a lesson on Memorial Day every year, and this just ties in perfectly. And as part of Memorial Day, remembering veterans who have passed away, I wanted the students to realize we can also acknowledge and remember veterans outside of Veterans Day who are still alive and who have stories to share that deserve to be heard.
I learned that most people who are in the military make sacrifices that almost every kid doesn't know until they go to something like this and they learn about it. Like, they sacrifice their lives on a daily basis to help get us freedom.
It was pretty cool. It's not like reading a book, like you're actually with the person, like that's like telling the story that they experienced.
I'm watching in there today, and I just love what's going on, and seeing their faces and hearing how excited they are to learn about people who weren't that much older than them and went off to war.
I learned a lot about the conditions in the wars they fought in, like how people felt while they were in Vietnam, and just in general their experiences and everything that's happened to them.
This means to me how important it is for the veterans, for us to learn about this stuff, because I feel like people think of middle schoolers like they don't really want to learn about the community, and this is important to the veterans because they want to show us what freedom means.
As far as students go, I think at an early age that there's many freedoms and opportunities that we have in this country, and those don't come without a price tag. And I think it's important that children know, and the younger generation understands that those who have gone before them have fought and made sure that they preserved their freedoms and their ability to do and be whatever they want to be. And I think the realization of that is very, very important, to know that I have this opportunity, and I am grateful for those who have allowed me to have these opportunities and these basic freedoms that you won't find in every country. That's why it's important.
My dad joined the Marines before I was born, and his cousin Craig is in Oregon right now in the Army. Saw him before COVID hit, and he came back in 2020. It's hard not seeing your family for a little bit, but it's nice when he comes back.
Most of my family was in the armed forces, so my parents were all in the Navy, and I once did a project on all the family members I had in the military, and there were a lot of them. So this tells me a lot more about the sacrifices that my family members have made and all the things they do to help give all the people in the U.S. freedom.
What does your service mean to you?
Wow. I guess it means that I stood up for my country during a very turbulent time in American history. World War II, people couldn't wait to enlist. They were all excited. Vietnam War, people were leaving our country, they were going to Canada, and you as a person had to make the decision, were you on this team or that team? And I decided to enlist in the Navy and do something bigger than myself.
And it's a matter of pride. It's something that I'm happy I had the opportunity to serve the country. I come from a family that was involved in the military. My dad was Omaha Beach and Normandy. And I felt an obligation to say thank you for the freedoms that I enjoy and that we all enjoy. And I want to be a part of making sure it's preserved.
Well, first of all, you're fighting for your country, and you're fighting for other countries for freedom. Other countries, other parts of the world, they don't have the opportunities that we have here in the United States. And I'm hoping that by doing my military service, it's helped other countries and not just ourselves for the freedom that we enjoy today. And there's a lot of camaraderie while I was in the service. I still attend reunions, and I keep in touch with probably half a dozen men that I served. So my service to me means a lot to me. It means I was willing to put myself on the line for my country. And as today we had the opportunity to share our experiences and tell younger generations what we went through and what we did.
Well, I'm glad that I served. My grandfather served in the Army. My father served in the Navy, and I'm glad that I did my part in the Army. So nobody else had to go in my place.
My service means to defend the country. My father served in World War II. My brother served, he was in Vietnam. I felt it's an obligation to our country to serve and to protect it. And based on what John F. Kennedy said in his inauguration speech, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And that's why I wanted to do that, was to protect and to defend our country.
Veterans Day is on November 11th and is a moment to collectively stop and appreciate the heroes who walk among us. These are our neighbors, our colleagues, and our family members. To all our veterans, thank you for bringing the same dedication you showed in uniform back home to our neighborhoods, schools, businesses, and our town halls. We see you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for your service.
Classical music in the afternoon is the perfect complement to the kaleidoscopic symphony of autumn color that is happening outside our windows. The Duxbury Senior Center welcomes the Cranberry Trio, a group of local musicians who enjoy getting together to play music for a fall classical concert on Saturday, November 22nd at 2 p.m. The cost is just $5 per person. You can register and pay by visiting the Duxbury Senior Center's website.
Holiday gatherings are an array of joy and tradition, but can also include challenging conversations about things like politics. If this resonates with you, join Braver Angels and the Plymouth Center for Active Living at the Plymouth Public Library on November 21st for Families and Politics, a workshop designed to help navigate the sometimes choppy waters of holiday gatherings with family and close friends when you don't always agree. This friendly and engaging experience will discuss the dynamics of political differences and how to use effective communication skills to converse in difficult conversations and preserve your happy holiday. The workshop starts at 11:30 a.m. and is 2 hours long. Registration through the Center for Active Living is appreciated. However, drop-ins are welcome.
Want to try out new board games while having fun conversations and enjoying a little friendly competition? The Kingston Public Library has a monthly board game tasting hosted by the library's teen librarian, Parker. Each month, there's a different game to sample, each chosen for its unique twists and friendly competitive elements to bring folks together for a fun afternoon of camaraderie. This month's game is Hues and Cues, a board game where the cue giver provides 1 or 2 word clues to lead the other players into guessing a specific color on a large grid. The closer players get to guessing the right target color, the more points they earn, and the cue giver gains points based on how many guesses come close to the chosen color. The next board game gathering will be on Saturday, November 15th at 1 p.m. in the teen room. No registration is required. Just come on down and bring your game face.
What's the best thing to wear to a Thanksgiving luncheon? A harvest. Are you ready to get the season of seasoning started? Sneak peek your Thanksgiving on November 20th at the Kingston Council on Aging's Thanksgiving Luncheon, free to the community with many thanks to the generous contribution of the Friends of the KCOA. Gobble gobbling will begin at 11:30 a.m. and if you are a Kingston resident, registration is now open. If you're not from Kingston but close by, registration will open up on November 13th. Call the council at 781-585-0511 to sign up.
UK folk roots magazine F Roots describes singer-songwriter Sarah McQuaid as having a warm and welcoming stage presence and a voice as rich, matured, and knowing as the finest thrice-distilled Irish malt whiskey. If this sounds like your cup of whisk tea, you can catch her in concert at the Plymouth Public Library in the Phalo Room on Monday, November 24th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Raised in Chicago and currently living in rural England, Sarah crafts unorthodox and captivating songs that are radiant and full of heartfelt love, hope, beauty, and passion. If you would like to attend, please register to hold your seat through the library's website.
Thanksgiving Day is all sold out, but there are still seats available for the Plymouth-Patuxent's Story of Thanksgiving dinner on Friday, November 28th. One of Plymouth area's most popular dining options for the holiday, Plymouth-Patuxent Museum's dinner menu is based on what was served at the Harvard Club after President Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. Feast on an historical plate of classic roasted turkey and traditional trimmings, while a museum educator entertains and inspires you with deliciously captivating remarks and informational side dishes. If you'd like to step back in time, don't waste a minute. Tickets are being gobbled up fast. Head to the museum's website to reserve your spot.
Small Business Saturday is an annual and nationwide promotion on the Saturday after Thanksgiving to highlight how important it is to support and shop at local small businesses. The Kingston Collection is remaking the mall experience into what has become an eclectic variety of small businesses and artisans. One of those small businesses, 4 Good Vibes Gift Shop and Boutique, is hosting a family-friendly fun vendor pop-up event both inside their shop and in front of their space in the mall on Saturday, November 29th from 12 to 4 p.m. There will be all kinds of fun things to do and shop, from a visit and photo op with Mrs. Claus to face painting and other free craft activities for the kids. There will also be raffles, complimentary coffee and tea, and a variety of over 20 vendors offering cool gifts for the holidays. The Kingston Collection is located at 101 Kingston Collection Way in Kingston.
Super Communicators: How to Unlock the Secret Language of Connection is the latest book by best-selling author Charles Duhigg and outlines the art and science of communicating successfully. Examining the dynamics of everyday conversations, he breaks apart why some feel effortless and others fall flat, fizzle, or fall apart. On November 18th at 2 p.m., the Duxbury Free Library invites you to explore the connection and conversation, and specifically the book Super Communicators in a virtual literary event with the author himself. Super communicate your desire to attend through the library's website.
Registration is open now for the first annual Pembroke Police Boys and Girls Club 5K Turkey Trot. Your $35 registration fee will directly support the continuation of the welcoming and safe space the Grand Army of the Republic Hall building provides to Pembroke's youth as the Boys and Girls Club. Keeping a 120-year-old building that is an historical landmark up to date is a challenge, and you can help meet it and work up your Thanksgiving Day appetite. The race is from 8 to 11 a.m. on November 23rd and begins at 140 Center Street in Pembroke. Visit runsignup.com/race/ma/pembroke/ppbgc5k to sign up. Need some midweek wellness? Consider yoga classes at the Pembroke Public Library. Yoga is a blend of gentle movement, physical exercise, mental calmness, and emotional balance. And practicing it surrounded by shelves full of books? Glorious. Every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Kim Norton and other instructors from Yoga Connection of Plymouth are leading yoga classes open to all levels. Show up and drop in for one class for just $12 or register for a month's worth of classes for $45. If you are a Friend member, it is just $35 for 4 classes. Friends members can also buy an 8-class punch ticket for $80, good for a 3-month period of time. Kim is available to answer any additional questions you may have. Just give her a call at 781-588-5545. The Plymouth Public Library is offering babysitter safety training on November 11th from 1:30 to 4 p.m. for kids ages 11 to 15. What are the benefits of learning these skills? First, it is a great way to develop essential life skills such as leadership, responsibility, and communication. Babysitting gives you practical experience in childcare, as well as being a flexible way to earn some extra cash and obtain a foundation of knowledge and experience that could lead to careers in childcare and similar fields. This interactive training will discuss care techniques for both infants and small children, delve into child development, and teach basic first aid and choking rescue for infants and children. Injury prevention tips will also be discussed. This class will take place in the Phalo Meeting Room, and registration through the library's website is required. All attendees who complete the class will get a certificate.
Next up is poet Matthew Henry in a reading of his original work.
Hello, I'm Matthew E. Henry. I'm in the weird position because I have a book that came out a year and some change ago. It was my 6th collection, and I decided earlier this summer I'm done reading from that. Just some life changes, and it's like I'm kind of done reading from that book. I have another book that's coming out next spring as well, some others, and it's like I could read from that. No, so I'm going to read some poems that are some I've never read in front of anyone before. So those who have read in front of people know how terrifying that is, and a few others that are in collections in progress. I have 4 different manuscripts out in the world being rejected right now because that's ADHD. That's how I roll. And I feel like I should apologize in advance. For those who have heard me read before, you already know I sometimes bring the room down because I write largely from places of trauma, for lack of a better way of phrasing it. I'm Black. Hello. This is not a... I'm God-tanned. This isn't like something different. And I'm also an educator. I've taught for 24 years now. And I also write in terms of theology and the intersection of those things. And so a lot of that will come up in various ways. This is a new poem entitled, When Asked If, as a Veteran Teacher, I've Gotten Used to It. It says something that I no longer react to a story of a masked gunman shooting up a school, or shooting up a church, or shooting up a school that is a church, or a church within a school, or a pew's worth of children who were shot in a church school, or that a brace of children died after being shot in a school church, or how a gunman could take the coward shot in a church parking lot after marking mass in the first week of school. It says something that I only wanted answers, needed to investigate. A hero story of a boy throwing himself onto a friend to shield him from bullets exploding the stained glass of a church, protecting him from the automatic fire piercing school windows with stigmata. Was he shot in the back because he truly greater loved a friend, laid down his life to cover him? Was he duck, duck, goose diving to safety and landed into a space occupied by a lap? Or was he simply, sadly, slugged in the back, collapsing into a better story? You'd get over it. The title is a quote from one of my former high school students, for Anna. Think of what we know, what science has told us of missing limbs and phantom pain. Fists still clenched decades after the shearing horror. Shrapnel buried in aged meat, inoperable without risking an artery's vital nicking, twisted with the slightest change in temperature. How rough hands clasped over mouths, fingers taut around throats, forearms, thighs, linger. The summer dilemma of hiding unfaded scars along wrists. Given all we know of how wounds are frost-heaved by cold memory, why would you ever think that I'd get over a little sister-sized hole in the center of my chest? One of my former students, we were having a conversation 2 or 3 years ago, and she was like, well, if I killed myself, like, my family would be sad about it, but you'd get over it eventually. And I just didn't have the words in the moment to, and it's inappropriate to just strangle a child. Like, that's not okay. So I wrote to this poem as a way of processing it, and also gave it to her as a graduation present. And then she came back. I was like, why would you do this? She's in college right now. She's doing well. And I got a text message last week or so being like, I finally got into therapy, and it's really good. And I'm like, let's go. I was going to say at the beginning, some of these are school poems, obviously. This is another poem the title is a quote. I was not going to read this, then I decided I was going to read it. I think a couple of people heard the original version of this over the summer, and this was literally, you heard a written by hand version of it. This is the more updated version of it. Cover your ears, it's going to be loud at the front end. Oh God, please stop! From the back of the class, his cry careens over the heads of the rest. Their stricken faces, jaws slack or furiously clenched, eyes dewy or attempting to shut out the assailant in my words. But I refuse. Continue explaining the lynching by car of James Byrd Jr., briefly mentioned in Rankin's The White Card, open on their desks. The event is presented as a turning point. Character development for Charles, a billionaire with Basquiat's defacement on his wall. A news story whose horror shook him into seeing that racism still existed in the enlightened, heady days of 1998. A details-oriented educator, I clarify why Charles was so troubled. Byrd, 49, disabled, black, was walking home when 3 white men, one he thought a friend, had known his whole life, offered him a ride in a gray Ford pickup. Crushed between them, they forced him to remote woods, kicked and punched and baseball batted him in and out of consciousness, spray painted his face blacker, pissed and shat on him, retrieved a 24-foot-long chain from the truck bed, noosed it about his ankles, and dragged him for 1.5 miles. The FBI's autopsy determined he was conscious, trying to keep his upper body off of the road-rashing concrete, until their carefree swerving swung him into a culvert, which severed his right arm and head. Undaunted, they continued to drag his remainder for another 1.5 miles to the cemetery of a black church, where they mutilated and distributed his corpse to be found in time for the following morning's Sunday service. I tell my class this did not happen in a grainy black and white photo of the past. 81 pieces of Byrd were jigsaw scattered through Jasper, Texas on June 7th in 1998, 2 weeks before I graduated from high school, that I am only 2 years older than they are now. I remind my stunned, sobbing, silent students that I am younger than their parents, who may send me emails asking why I would subject their children to these horrors from another time, who may, echoing Charles, echoing their children, echoing James Byrd Jr., ask me to please stop. But the truck didn't, so I can't. I'll read one political poem, and then I'll read, I've been told I need to end things on like a happier note. I work on it. The first time. Also, I should say, I think this poem is a happier poem, but again, like, for those who have read one of my first full-length collection, the Colored Page, that was my first time like reading in front of people, and I had folks like come up to me, oh, hearing you read that poem was so different, like, it was humorous. I was like, I thought it was funny, but like, oh no, I thought it was just like black rage. I was like, oh, I guess 6 of this, half dozen of the other. The first time they told me to pray for him, pray for his success, that doing otherwise was like rooting against the pilot while sitting on the plane. If he crashes, we all go down. And such destructive thinking is the purview of progressives with the privilege of race and or wealth and or gender and or the ability to be unaffected by the minor inconvenience of someone else's cataclysm, like being forced to check a bag as your seatmate is tasered and dragged spasming unconscious down the aisle. They would then strain the metaphor, cite access to flawless flotation devices, parachutes, escape pods. This time I tell them, fuck it. Let the plane crash. Burn with all of us on it. Let the unfortunate survivors always remember what shook the plane, allowed smoke into the cabin, lit the drink carts on fire, blew bolts off the door, engulfed the fuselage in flames while trapped in a bathroom cell unable to reach a useless mass as the freefall began. Some might call this selfish. Affix the prior label of privilege upon my dark lapel. They forget our history. The many thousands gone under the sky, under the sea. Forgot how long we've been caught in the middle passage between every face of white rage since they dragged us here in chains. So let them try their hands at some race play, being treated like a nigger for 4 or 8 years. And then we'll see how quickly a change is going to come. This is just to say. I'm assuming all the poets in the room at some point read This Is Just to Say and then wrote their own version of it. This summer, I don't know. I was at the Eliot House in Gloucester doing a residency, and these 2 poems just sort of came out of somewhere. I'll blame the ghost of T.S. Eliot, even though he didn't write the original poem. This is just to say, I've eaten the latest passive-aggressive note you left in the office fridge. Your sarcastic missive about labeling, dating, and discarding food in a timely fashion because we are not, in fact, animals raised in a barn by mothers who don't work here. Yes, I meant eaten. I panicked, and it was the fastest way to protect you. I fear I was too late. No need to write another note in your black, all caps, Sharpie script. They got the message. I leave this on your desk to warn. Someone may have placed rabbit feces in your raisin and chocolate trail mix, toenail clippings in your shredded coconut flakes. Given your fondness for steak salads, be suspicious of the communal ranch dressing. Forgive them for being so petty and so cold. Don't ask, I don't know. And this last poem, I'll read the title twice. I don't know. An open letter to the guy in the next stall. Yeah. An open letter to the guy in the next stall. I get to do this with a straight face. It's a serious poem. Okay, wait. An open letter to the guy in the next stall. What are we doing? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz isn't only commercial relief from the 1970s. We are men, human, and this is common fare. Nothing coming out of us is a great mystery or an unimaginable feat, save perhaps in terms of quantity or consistency. What were we expecting? Potpourri scented with jasmine and lavender instead of the hot gas of deconstructed beef stew? Whole kernels of corn and peas, fibrous flecks of onion still in evidence? We didn't come here for romance. Can acknowledge the sound of wet socks repeatedly slapped against a rocky shore, ripple scattering gulls and brown trout. Why should either of us be embarrassed? Whether witness or culprit to the natural excretions that brought us here, or exchange silent apologies, eyes never meeting in the mirror should we simultaneously exit to wash hands that we won't shake. Even with the stench of lawmakers guarding bathroom access, can't we agree, regardless of skin color or hat color or stool, straining to uphold an unhealthy social norm is un-American when unbridled release is what God intended. In the name of self-love and decency, let us not give ourselves over to the prudish machinations of the repressed. Let us lean forward and hug our knees in midden consent. List sideways, lifting a cheek as needed, so unabashedly fire fecal cannons for effect. Let us unite and usher in an era of fully empty happiness and make manifest the promise of the old passing away for the boundless new to come. Thank you.
And that, my friends, wraps this episode of The Local Scene this week. Thank you for watching.
If you live or work in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, or Duxbury and would like to have your own show or podcast, you should. Email community@thelocalscene.media to find out about our free production services and training for community members.
And if you have a story or event you'd like people to know about, email us at story@thelocalscene.media.
We thank our patrons, Tiny and Sons, Quintal Brothers, and Squinny's Pizza for supporting our mission of community in action through media.
The Local Scene this week will be back next week with more of what's good and good to know in our area. Until then, we'll see you on The Local Scene. Hello, friend. If you enjoyed this video, please think about scanning the QR code and making a contribution to The Local Scene. Every dollar is appreciated, and your support helps keep community media alive and our resources free to the community. We'll see you on The Local Scene.